My experience is that as one deepens into awakening, that something that becomes developed and emerges is a deep caring for humanity and for all life. And I would say it's almost like the development of a real conscience. It's not about right or wrong or moral issues or morality. It's about sensing and caring about others. And I feel like that having a conscience is not a me thing in the end. It's actually a doorway from the infinite itself, from creator itself, emerging and solidifying into its own creation, which is what we are. We're made of that. We are that. And and when that really is awakened to, when that wakes up to itself, it cares so deeply for creation. Creator cares for its creation that that is its own conscience. And what I mean by that is that it knows right from wrong, but not out of duality, but from within unity. And it knows when unconsciousness is being played out and when something is really deeply unfair, when people are being mistreated, and when animals are being mistreated, when Mother Earth is being mistreated and walked upon, tread upon without care and hurt, that there is pain and suffering that ensues, right? And so this inner knowing of what's true and good and right emerges. And it's so much deeper than politics. It's so much deeper than, us and them. It's truly, truly, how could self want to harm itself over here, over there? And so then there can even be, depending on the makeup of the person, your own personality, there can be an inner voice, an inner knowing of a movement of what right action, you know, right action. You could even call it maybe even spiritual activism in a sense, but it's more a moment to moment right action of knowing where to stand up for those who maybe don't have a voice, for Mother Earth who might not have a voice or, as we do, for animals, for human beings, for a group of humans that are being mistreated. There's so much happening right now on the planet that it's impossible to not be affected, to not be touched, to not have your heart broken on some level. And it's completely permissible within the spirituality, within awakening, within awakened living, to know and act from what one knows to be true and right and good and fair. And to think that some people and some beings are better than others because of the color of their skin or where they're from or what religion they have, that is just that's all human made beliefs. And it causes so much division, as you know. And it's completely good and right and appropriate to have a response. Now, whether that response is just an acknowledgement of the heartache, whether that response is prayer, whether that response is speaking up in some way, using your voice, using your words, using your written out in the streets, whatever it is, banding together and know and speaking for what's true and right. There's got to be sort of an accountability for our actions, for human beings' unconsciousness. and to hide out in some kind of spiritual transcendence, imagining that the awakened um, perspective is to let the world do what the world does, as some teachers have said, which is, there's a time and place for different things, even within oneself, you know. But life loves itself and does not want to cause itself harm. And truth is good and kind and fair, and it doesn't, in the end, there's no hierarchy. There are no some better than others, right? Regardless of anything, including wealth. It's all equal in the eyes of the divine. We are all equal, all beings, all creatures. Okay. And so it's completely, it's actually called upon, it's actually a called upon in this day and age to think outside of oneself and one's own personal issues, one's own personal spiritual journey, even, and realize that the well-being of the whole is is part of one's spirituality. Okay. It's a calling, it's a necessity, and it's part of our own evolution is to care. Okay. And it can propel one even out of the self-centered nucleus of only thinking of oneself or one's family or the well-being of one's small, tiny network, you know, and propel one beyond into a unity, which is of the heart, that is unconditionally loving and caring and doesn't see and hold things in a hierarchy, okay? That people on one side of the fence, of the boundary, of a border, are of more value than another. I mean, how can that even be true? It's not. It's not. And there are plenty of spiritual teachers out there throughout time who have said, don't bother with the world and don't want to enter into any kind of social conscience stuff. And I'm not talking about an us and them thing or political stance. I'm talking about a stand for truth, goodness, fairness, and love. And to give a damn, to give a damn. And to break this trance that it's like one should be transcendent or not attached, and discard the things of the world. That might, like I said, be a phase, but don't let it be a spiritual bypassing, because it's all just, painful and too much. I get it. I get it. It's a lot, what's going on right now. But the what's taking place in the world is meant to shake us awake. It's not just what's taking place in the world, and it's meant to shake us out of our self-protective, self-enclosed nucleus, you know. And I want to and sort of so it's actually part of the survival nucleus, and because we're really, really, truly interconnected. And the well-being of the whole is so important. It's not just the well-being of this one, you and you. The well-being of the whole is affecting us so much more deeply than we realize. And so the invitation is to care. The invitation is to let your boat be rocked. The invitation is to crack open and let the heart cry and break open so it can include more. Okay. And the invitation is to not just create a fence of protection and even hide out in a spiritual understanding or pursuits. Okay? The invitation is to let the whole world be part of the well-being of the world, be part of your own well-being, and to let it wake you up. Let what's taking place now in this day-to-day life, in your own life, and on the grand scheme of the whole planet. And I'm not talking about go into overwhelm and be a news junkie, but let what's taking place, the unconsciousness, crack you awake and realize what's good and right and true and how do you want to live? What do you want to contribute? Will you speak up for what you know is deeply unfair, even if you feel like it's not doing anything, just to be honest, like my heart's breaking about what's happening, what's happening, especially with wars, with senseless killing, people dying, all for ideas and beliefs. It is the same exact story being replicated year after year after year, thousands of years, right? And spirituality has been sort of a refuge, from the pain and suffering of the world. I get it. But at the same time, the world is part of creation, and it deeply cares for suffering, and it would love to have balance and harmony, and for us to care about one another. All right. Let your heart crack open. It's okay to give a damn. It's okay. It's good. And it's okay to even um, have a political conscience or social conscience. It is it is completely part of unconditional heart. Be well.